Strong and sturdy? No. Aesthetically pleasing? Decisively no. Tesla's attempt at making a powerful utility vehicle has none of the features that make a truck a truck. And in fact, a lot of people say it's a car imitating a truck. And that is why from its official release in 2019 up until the first deliveries in 2023, Cybertruck has received lots of hate from traditional truck enthusiasts. History has shown past failures of vehicles when they didn't align with market needs and a company's customer base. The DeLorean, for example, was a futuristic car in the 1970s that became more famous for its movie appearance than for its sales. And the Pontiac Aztek from the early 2000s was a huge design misstep for Pontiac. And in a lot of ways, I think Tesla's Cybertruck shares a lot of the same bad qualities. And with that has come a ton of problems that have been for Tesla's vehicle that just keep proving one thing. This vehicle is a huge waste of money, and thus it really does beg the question, is Tesla making trucks worse? Back when the Cybertruck was first announced, Elon Musk wanted to demonstrate on stage how sturdy it was when he accidentally broke the side window of what he called the armor glass with a metal ball.
Sure? Yeah. Oh my fucking God. Well, maybe that was a little too hard.
Should we try the beer?
Sorry? Okay.
Ever since this demonstration, people have been roasting the Cybertruck, its owners, and the man behind it, Elon Musk. But it's not just because the armor glass demo was a failure. In fact, a lot of the hate is because the truck actually doesn't do a lot of the things that are expected from a traditional truck. Compared to basically any other vehicle in its size, it's more expensive and far heavier, has a much lower range, less horsepower, has less off-road capability, a much lower towing capacity, less cargo space, and requires specialty infrastructure to fuel up that isn't super convenient. In essentially every aspect, buying this so-called truck is a worse idea than getting a similar size conventional truck. And on top of all of this, they come with a price tag of 80 all the way up to $100,000. So to understand how Tesla put a truck on the market with these limitations, we need to add some context to the story. The deal is that the original prototype in 2019 had a lot of potential, but Tesla didn't stick to it. There was a lot of quote unquote looks stupid, but it works talks going on. It was designed to be cost effective on a short production run actually. It was to be made of flat, unworked pieces of heavy sheet steel, no presses or dies, few unique parts, structure and exterior all at once, no paint shop at all. Along with cheap factory, easy setup, it was strong and effective, but weird, and by most people's aesthetics, actually quite ugly. But then what ended up happening is they got like 1 million people on the wait list. Not really, but a pretty large number. And now they thought they would have a long production run. And they might have been right at the time. But then 2020 comes along and we know what happened there with COVID. And I guess from that point on, they decided they had the time to redesign it. And they totally changed their design intent. Thus, the Cybertruck was born. They kept the quote unquote looks stupid, but lost track of the quote unquote, but it works part along the way. And they mucked about with a lot of presses, dies, and gigantic aluminum castings, which made the factory expensive instead of refining the existing design. And it came out a glitchy mess, and that didn't have much of the original engineering left, but the horrible design stayed. And it doesn't help that they're only selling the super duper trim level that costs as much as an F-150 Lightning and a similar F-150 combined. So now let's fast forward to current state and talk off-roading. Because the very first thing that anybody expects from a truck is that its off-road capability should be there. However, the Cybertruck doesn't seem to think so. Tesla heavily marketed and praised their truck's ability to easily handle rough terrain, but what they failed to disclose was that there were restrictions to the places people can off-road with it. In December 2023, an image went viral of a Cybertruck stuck on the Stanislaus National Forest in California. The truck lost traction and slid down while harvesting a Christmas tree. The truck was stuck on a snowy embankment, and ultimately, it was a Ford that came to the rescue. This was one of the first examples of how the Cybertruck just isn't worthy of being an off-road vehicle. However, when compared to other issues, the off-roading incapabilities are not that big of a deal. For example, a really big selling point for Cybertruck, and also I think a major drawback, is its stainless steel body. And the reason it's a big drawback boils down to two things: quality and poor construction. The majority of the vehicle is molded out of large, uninterrupted pieces of steel, and in fact is one of the main reasons you can't get one in Europe. It's extremely dangerous for pedestrians and cyclists that would be hit by it. The steel limits the number of failure points on the body and frame of the truck, which sounds like a good thing, but what it really means is that only a few select areas will receive persistent and repeated strains, making them far more likely to crack, break, and warping from thermal influence. The metal expands slightly with heat, contracts slightly with cold. This is true for any car or truck, of course, but most other vehicles are not constructed out of a singular piece in the same way. This further adds stressing to the vehicle that you don't find on typical trucks. Now, mind you, it's also so heavy that guardrails won't be able to stop it if you go off-road. So I guess that means you'll be getting to die in a ditch if that ever happens. Apart from that, the build quality is just not the best for this vehicle and cannot compete in the same arena reliability-wise as typical trucks can. The body of the vehicle is also extremely sensitive to none other than actually corrosion. And I don't just mean rust. Roads, even well-maintained roads, are covered in dirt, rocks, chemicals, and other residue. Simple fact is that stainless steel cannot resist corrosion from these sources over the long term, even with what might be considered adequate attention to cleaning and maintenance. And the truck's overall sensitivity to water, some have actually been broken by going through a car wash, further increases the difficulty of removing buildup residue safely. As anyone with stainless steel items knows, if you get marks from the oils on your hands or from the environment around you on them, and you don't clean them off in a short order, they're prone to corrosion, and the Cybertruck is no different. For example, in April 2024, a Cybertruck owner took his truck to the car wash after a day at the beach. He hosed off the sand in his truck bed, and after that, he noticed something absolutely insane. The Cybertruck screen wouldn't turn on. He tried to reset it, and that did absolutely nothing either. The biggest problem is that you tell Tesla that you drove the car through a car wash, your warranty is voided. In the end, you're basically left with a quote-unquote dead robot. When was the last time your Ford or Toyota truck went to the car wash and came back half dead? Basically never. This problem wouldn't happen in a million years, but yet Cybertruck is sadly prone to this. Now, the vast majority of it is not particularly dangerous or worrisome, but it is a poorly conceived vehicle built in ways that make it sustainably more prone to major body breakdowns than traditional trucks. And almost certainly the truck will not physically age well like other vehicles can, owing to the increased ease of corrosion. Having said this though, it's estimated that Tesla has delivered just under 30,000 units for 2024, even with its design flaws and high cost. So what do people see in it? Well, to be honest, I think Cybertruck demand is going to be steady for some time and then run straight into a brick wall. Ford and GM do have a huge advantage in the truck market over Tesla, but not on the consumer side. If GM can keep rolling out Silverados and Ford their Lightning Pros to commercial fleets, Tesla won't be able to capture that market. Tesla will stagnate once everyone who legitimately wants a Cybertruck already has one, and by that time, GM will have the full array of consumer retail trim levels ready to roll over the Silverado and Sierra. No EV pickup, Cybertruck, Silverado EV, or otherwise, will be able to match the sales figures of internal combustion engine pickups for at least 10 years. I want you guys to mark it, set a remind me, do what you want with it, but I'm calling it. And that's not even considering the Ram 1500, which is much more likely to capture the market of truck drivers who are still skeptical of the merits of electronic vehicles. All in all, it seems that the Cybertruck is not a truck, but an ultra-modern luxury SUV that needs more pampering than any other truck. Trucks are meant to be this indestructible, rough, tough, and sturdy vehicle. They don't need to be babied all the time during routine tasks like washing, off-roading, or even camping for that matter. And therefore, in my opinion, the Cybertruck is not worthy of being called a truck simply because it doesn't do the things that a Tacoma, Tundra, or the good old F-150 can do, or even for that matter, a Silverado. Let me know what you guys think of the Cybertruck and if you consider it a truck that will replace the gasoline-powered monsters we all drive. As always, thanks you guys so much for watching. Hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.